Hey everybody, welcome to the second episode of the 80s Still Scream. I am Lionel VHS. I'm so happy to be here. Before I start, I want to thank everybody who took the time to listen to our first episode. I really do appreciate it. We are here to do a second episode. I'm really excited to have one of my guests return that we had last time, Jerry Smith. Hey Jerry, welcome back.
How is it going? I am more excited to be here than Warrant was to cover We Will Rock You for the Gladiator soundtrack.
And we also have my friend Matt Garcia. Matt, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So last episode we were talking about origins, where I got started in horror, where Jerry got started in horror, all the good things that were brought in the 80s that made us who we are today. Today we're going to go one step further. We're going to talk about VHS memories. We're going to talk about that wonderful era, those wonderful 10 years that brought us the home video boom. And you know what? We're going to talk about the home video boom right now and what's done for us in our lives as horror fans. So the first thing that I remember back in 1980, because that's when everything started pretty much, is the fact that these little mom and pop video stores were popping up here and there. They weren't as prevalent as they were in the mid 80s, but it was getting there. And the one thing that I do remember, first of all, was the format wars of the early 1980s between VHS, beta, and the CED, the video disc, the capacitance electronic discs. Now, for those of you who don't know what a CED is, I'll give you a rundown on what it is. It is actually a disc made like a phonograph record that is housed between two big sheets of plastic. And the player that you play them in was kind of like a record player. They had a record player style phonograph. I'm sorry, not phonograph. A stylus that would play the two discs that were inside and project the video and the audio onto the screen. It was really, really basic. What it actually was the poor man's alternative to the VHS home system, the VCR, because it was kind of expensive back then. So if you couldn't afford that as of yet, you could get this and still be able to buy, different movies and watch different movies or rent them. So
My dad was like too poor to buy Lunchables, so I think that's
we actually started out with that. That was my dad's first foray into the whole video boom in the 1980s, and it was actually pretty good. The only thing that we didn't really particularly care for was the picture quality wasn't that great. It was, to be honest, VHS was actually, VHS was vastly superior to this.
Was it Blu-ray quality?
No.
It wasn't even Blu-ray quality at that point. It was like red.
And sometimes the sound skipped and the picture was a little muffled. But the one thing that was really, really bothersome and cumbersome is actually the correct word, was that it was kind of like the laser disc that we know now, where you actually had to flip the disc. The movie did come on one side. It didn't come continuous play. You actually had to flip it over. And it was this big plastic heavy case that you had to insert into the player, pull it out, hit play. The thing would happen, and the first part of the movie would play. When the second part of the movie came, it would just stop. So you'd have to take that big old plastic thing, insert it, take it back out, flip it over, put it back. Yeah, it was really, really, a big hassle. So it's no surprise that this type of format, was beat out by the video home system.
Yeah.
And during that time that, video cassettes were becoming prevalent and, video cassette recorders were getting into the market, was that you could rent them. You could rent them at different stores. I mean, you had to pay an arm and a leg for them to
Deposit, right? Like $100, $200.
yeah, and you could only keep it for like a day or two. You couldn't keep it more than a week. And these things were just no.
The payment is for the whole
Yeah, exactly. So when we first got ours, we first got the Quasar VH 504 2XQ. This thing
You
was
remember the model number?
What?
yeah.
I don't even
That was
remember my
impressive.
first wife's middle name. You remember the model number from 1980?
Yeah, that thing was big. That thing was huge. It was
I do.
it was yeah, this thing was mammoth. It was one of those top loaders that just, when you hit eject, this big robotic arm would come out and it would make this big
Looked like a video drone.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. And it would make this big loud sound.
Tape vagina in his stomach.
Orange Chester.
Right.
and whether you would hit eject or play or stop or fast forward, rewind, it would make this big bang and this really loud sound. So if you like wanted to sneak in and watch porn in the middle of the night, it wasn't going to happen because the whole block was going to know that you were.
Your dad comes down the stairs and you're watching porn. He's like, oh, what's going on?
Beijing is gonna know that you're watching porn.
I'm watching Three's Company.
Yeah, exactly. But it was cool.
Ripper, he's crazy.
We got our VCR at Morgan's TV in Selma back in winter of 1982.
That, right?
Morgan Freeman did not.
Every time I see him, I think of chocolate chip
Well,
cookies.
it was a pretty what do you call it, rundown place. So I wouldn't have been surprised if you owned it.
Ridley, you said?
No, this was in Selma.
Selma. Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, this
not
was in
any
Selma.
better.
What do they have other than like car dealerships?
Right, and this thing was one thing I do remember. It was expensive. It was like almost $450
Crap.
for. This was back in 1980. What did I say? 81.
Could be a
I want to say it
chick
was
you buy a
82.
child for that price these days.
Exactly. And the cool thing is Dad wanted one thing that I loved about my dad back then was that he wanted to be the first on the block to get this stuff. So he was always the first in the family to get the latest technology.
Well, I do have to ask though, and it's like a serious question. It's not me just joking, being a dumbass. Your dad was a minister, right?
Yes.
Well, wanting to be that kind of first person to get everything, like, would he be interested in films that are, like take place outside of the whole like ministry and Christian kind of like thing? Or?
Pop was big into kung fu movies.
Yeah,
that was a
Enter
big
the
Bruce.
Dragon,
That was a
Enter the
big
Dragon,
Bruce Lee
Enter the
fan.
Dragon.
Yeah.
TV shows, American children.
He was a
Bruce
big.
Lee, Bruce Lee, every Bruce that came out after Bruce Lee died.
Even
Remember
Bruce.
all those?
Even Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. Bruce
Dad.
Lee, Bruce Lee, Bruce Campbell. What?
So he was
God, that made my
he was
mouth.
into that stuff. So
Yeah.
we brought it home, and I mean
That's
we had the family coming over, and I remember the Christmas right after we bought it. We had everybody over, and he had the kids in the corner watching Tom and Jerry cartoons, and it was really cool. I mean, I remember this huge mammoth appliance on top of our TV that was actually almost as big as the TV,
Yeah.
and the thing that we loved the most about it is what it could do. Of course, back then you're a kid, you really don't know these things, but I'm pretty sure my dad was.
Magical to you at that time.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think Dad was pretty impressed by what this thing could do.
Yeah.
And the minute that he bought it, he went out and got cable.
Mhm.
He went out and got this thing and cable at the same time, and he, realized that he could record all kinds of stuff off the TV. He was really big into, boxing matches and,
Yeah.
like I said, kung fu movies. So he recorded.
Sugar Ray Leonard and stuff like that.
We had stacks and stacks of blank video cassettes everywhere because he was recording everything off the TV.
I'm sorry, but pre-recording setting your VCR to record shows never worked. It never worked ever.
Well, and for
it was
some,
like defusing a damn bomb.
Well,
It
maybe
never
you just didn't read the manual.
worked. I didn't.
Maybe you just asked to
I
do the
didn't.
manual.
and it was
Pretty
cool.
sure it should've been easy.
He managed to master it somehow because he would go to like if something was coming out at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
He mastered it to where he woke up and there was recorded. So
Everything. Did he ever record Young Guns? Because that's literally the only thing I ever recorded.
you know what?
I have like 4 videotapes of just Young Guns.
A lot of the cartoon series.
All I wanted,
Exposed beginning.
all I wanted back then for him to record for me was Commander USA's grouping movies, and that wasn't happening. Because he was always watching USA because of the kung fu movies.
You said that you guys watched as kids. You'd be in the corner watching Tom and Jerry. Did you have more than one television, like while they were watching stuff?
You know what? When we were kids, Dad had the big console that he bought when he first got the CED player, and we had like a small portable black and white
Yeah.
that you could carry from room to room, and he had the VCR hooked up to that. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so
Because me personally, I'm 36, and I would rather watch Tom and Jerry. Like my kids will come over and they'll want to watch Boogie Nights, and I'll set that in a corner while I watch Tom and Jerry. I'm just joking. guys.
that is the strangest case of flipped reverse roles I've ever heard.
I'm just joking.
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
My kids love this prosthetic dick. Sorry.
God. So like once we got to VCR, I noticed that these little stores started popping around here and there. Ridley had Ernie's Video, and Ridley had all that video. And what was cool is that every time you went to these things, it was packed. These people were finding out this new technology, if you want to call it that, this new way to enjoy stuff at home, and people were renting stuff all the time. I mean, you would walk into these things and there were lines. I remember Pop having to fight for, well, not fight, that's not the word, but he would get frustrated because, no.
Only for
Catch dollar, what?
only the strong survive. Like Mark Descacos would come and train your dad.
Well,
Trample for
Capoeira to get
he
a VHS.
wanted his fix of like, his Chuck Norris movies
Yeah.
and his Clint Eastwood
Do
movies.
you know his favorites? Because that's what I.
Yeah.
I love Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee movies. I'm curious.
I know them better.
Dad, I know. One of Dad's favorite Clint Eastwood movies is Heartbreak Ridge.
Yes.
He loves Space Cowboys, but that's more modern. And Dad likes Pale Rider. Yeah, Pale Rider. Yeah. So he would go try to rent them.
I
And
have
then,
no idea what anyone is talking about.
You don't know about Pale Rider and Hang 'em High?
I'm not big on westerns. I'm sorry, I love it.
Well, it's not so much Western, more it's just Clint Eastwood.
It's not just Western.
Well,
it's just badass.
Yeah.
The last Clint Eastwood movie I watched was
Chuck Norris, like
Gran Torino.
Silent Rage.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's basically Halloween with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Like Silent Rage is a slasher. I love Chuck Norris.
Yeah. So
And
he.
I forgot the movie with Bruce Lee that Chuck Norris was a bad guy in. Bruce Lee.
The Big Boss.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So he would go to these stores and he would get frustrated because the one night that he wanted to see a Bruce Lee movie, it wasn't available.
Checked out.
Yeah. So that was the cool thing. People were, started catching on to these.
Yeah.
And the one thing I remember also was how really cool you felt when you walked into these things. Every time I walked into I shouldn't say every time I walked into a video store because there's only 2 in our area. But I felt both of them, yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this really cool, like, atmosphere when I would walk
like
in.
a club.
Yeah, exactly.
You felt like you belonged to these.
Well,
places.
now that you said that,
Yeah.
now that you said that too, well, back then you couldn't just walk into any old store and rent a movie. I mean, you had to be a part of. You had to have a membership to whatever video house you wanted to go to.
You had to go initiation and get clubbed.
Exactly. Yeah, you had to.
Paddling the swollen ass.
You you had to submit bodily fluid and the whole. Yeah.
Initiation of Sarah.
Ooh. We're gonna have to go back to that in a minute.
Please not.
Oh, we will.
But yeah, you have to pay like $40, $50
Yeah.
to be a part of this place. Plus, pay for whatever movie you wanted to rent.
Yeah. Or if you don't have a machine, you have to pay out the ass to get a machine.
Now-
Which I forgot we were talking about earlier. I had completely forgotten that fucking old movie, houses, old movie stores would actually rent out VCRs, Super Nintendos,
all that stuff, but like,
Completely
what sucks
forgot.
is like you'd get excited because it would have like an advertisement saying, "Oh, $20 to rent it," and you'd go to rent it like, "Well, yeah, you need a $200 deposit," so you'd have to go back to your house and be like, "Dad, can I borrow $200?"
Now, I do
Days.
remember
you
once,
go.
I think I was probably, I want to say I was 17 or 18.
Uh-huh.
And this was in the early 90s. I can't remember who, what, when, or why, but we rented a VCR from a video house. And it was cool because it came in this big, like, spy suitcase type of thing.
Even a suitcase?
Yeah, it was really cool. It came like in.
007
And like a
stuff?
dose
It was-
of like your mission.
Yeah, and it came, you
You
would
choose to
open it,
accept it,
and it would.
It will self-destruct in 5
but it'll
seconds.
So-
self-destruct after you watch Adam, the John Walsh movie.
So when you open it, you would see the VCR there, and it had all the cords, had everything, the
Was it
instructions.
the VCR that popped up at the top?
No, these were
Top
actually
loader?
after front loaders became available.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't think I remember ever seeing top loaders to rent. I mean, of course there were at the time, but I just don't remember
Yeah.
seeing them. And I think I ended up paying. It was like $29.99 for the weekend, but like you said, I had to pay like $100 deposit.
Yeah.
And
Pretty much
when you,
sign your life away.
yeah, and when you took it
Yeah.
back, they checked.
Your firstborn.
They they checked everything to make sure that there was no dents, no creases. To make sure they would plug it in front of you to make sure it
kind of
still
here to
worked.
They
wind
do
it,
the inspection that like hurts.
Yeah.
Like Enterprise does with their cars.
I mean, of course, back then I understand why, because VCRs were not a commodity to everybody.
Yeah.
These things were like $300-$400 a pop, even more.
Yeah.
So these people had to protect their investment.
Uh-huh.
But it was like this feeling that you got when you did that hasn't been matched since.
No, never.
And one of the things that
Especially
I
with, like video on demand.
It's
and
one
stuff,
thing-
It's just boring. To
it's
just
one
rent a movie on a
thing-
computer or a TV.
Just like Jerry's saying, it's one thing to be on Comcast and you see the movies that are available, or you're on your phone and you're touching the movie. It's one thing to freaking hold the VHS cover and see 3
Exactly.
pictures or 4 pictures at the most. 4 screenshots you gotta go off of. You're holding one in your right hand, one in your left hand.
Yeah.
Okay, these pictures. This
You have
picture,
to
and you're
decide which one
compare
you
and
want, as
contrast.
opposed to today. It's like,
Yes.
oh, do I want to rent Blackcoat's Daughter or Darling? Which are
you see,
great
and
movies.
for me, one of the biggest joys that I used to experience as a teenager was being able to walk into these places and, just like you said, walk into this endless, I mean, just barrage of
It was
just
almost
boxes.
overwhelming in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The whole section of the horror section when I was younger, like I told you, and I'm sure you guys too. Every single movie I watched. Every single movie. My mom's only rule, I could not watch Serpent and the Rainbow.
Why? Does she not
I
like voodoo?
don't know. It's not even that
No, I don't
bad.
think it's voodoo. I think your mom just hated Bill Pullman. Maybe she had like a bad experience with Spaceballs.
Right.
And the truth comes out. No, I mean really. I mean,
She should call 1-800.
Right?
I mean, you'd walk into these places, you'd be able to
I'm
pick
a
up.
bona fide prince.
You'd be able to pick up these boxes, and me that I wasn't, of course, of age to rent them yet, and with parents who would not, under any circumstances, rent these for me.
Because they're worldly.
It would be, and it was really cool to be able to memorize like all these images, this artwork, these big boxes, the synopsis is on the back.
Did you ever try to sneak ones? Because there was a lot of movies, even as a kid, being just like this horny, like 10-year-old, which is weird because I wasn't even going through puberty. I would try to sneak in movies in the middle and just bring like a stack of 5 to my dad, like Evil Dead at the top, blah blah blah, and like Fatal Attraction or shit in the middle. And be like, so Dad, these are the movies I want to rent, and hope that he didn't go through them and be like, oh, what is Fatal Attraction? What is Body Double? What is all this stuff?
Okay,
I just
now,
wanna see
hold
movies
on,
as a
wait.
kid.
Now that you said that, okay, it was the very early '90s.
Yes.
We were at Was it Hastings? Hastings Video. Hastings
Wow.
Video. Yeah.
I used to buy so much Beastie Boys shit.
I want to say I was a junior in high school. Well, Mom had taken us to, she wanted to rent a couple of movies, and she said, hey, you guys could pick out a movie.
It was Blindfolded with Shannon Doherty, right?
No, here, this is actually a really funny story.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Christopher Reeve. I mean, big. I mean, he was my hero. I mean,
Yeah.
he was
Somewhere in Time.
everything to
That's
me.
right, I said Somewhere in Time instead of Superman. Fuck you guys.
No. Somewhere in Time is such a great movie.
It is great.
So that's why I didn't give a shit about it.
Jane Seymour.
Yeah. So I had, been to the library, done research on these movies, whatever.
Yeah.
So I came across, and my brother that's here, he's going to attest to this, was Death Trap.
Oh my god.
So I
I
hadn't
have not
seen...
heard that movie in so long.
I'd never seen it before. So I took it over to my mother, and I said, hey, I want to see this one. And she was looking at me like, oh my God, another Christopher Reeve movie, blah, 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 whatever. So not knowing what it was, we took it home. And like I said, I'd never seen it.
Oh no.
So
I know what you're getting
we're
into.
watching it, and we get to that scene.
Yeah.
And dude, I swear to God, my mom like jumped off her seat. I got yelled at left and right, accusing me of, you knew exactly,
Pornography.
you knew exactly what you were gonna rent and blah 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 whatever. Well, needless to say that I didn't get to see the rest of that movie until I was like 25, 26.
With Death Trap, I saw that really early on in life, and I loved it.
Such a great
I
movie.
think I was more upset even as a kid with Superman 4. It was so bad. Like, I'd rather see like Christopher Reeve doing like really sketchy sexual things more than like him fighting Nuclear Man.
So it was after that incident to where I know I talked about this in the last episode. It was because of that incident that I had to find a way to sneak in movies like this that I was really curious about.
Yeah.
So, I had a friend next door. His older brother was, and I've said it before. His older brother was manager of a grocery store that had a video rental section. So every time we would go, I figured out, hey, let me see if I can get this guy to do this for me. And I would ask him, hey, you guys have this X movie. Can you bring it home?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm not too cool with that because they were really good friends with my dad.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we don't want to get in trouble with your dad. And I'm like, you know what? I won't say anything. I'll do whatever you guys
You're
want.
like, dude, shut up and stop.
Whatever.
Give
Really?
numbers and then get me Evil Dead.
Exactly. Well, actually, he was...
Of course, he said cucumbers.
I didn't mean anything like cucumbers. That was literally the first thing
So,
that came.
so that's how it started.
Okay, go.
That's how it started. And the very first movie I asked him to get me was Night of the Zombies.
Ooh, wow. It's a good
Okay,
one.
so are you saying ooh wow because you remember
That's a
how
good one.
crappy it
It's a good
was?
No, it's not a good movie, but it just like you said, that's the first
Memory.
memory.
Well, it's because like I said, you'd go through exactly
Zombie.
like zombie. You go and you browse these titles and you see this really cool artwork and it made you curious. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the first one I did, and once I saw it and once I got my fix, I realized, okay, I can get away with this. This is the only way I'm going to be able to get away with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing that more often, and from there it went to like Alone in the Dark,
Oh my god.
The Slayer, Scalps. I hadn't discovered the Gate yet. I was
The gate is cool.
for some reason the first couple of movies that I was having this guy rent me were like the really dark, sleazy stuff. Stuff that you needed a shower for after.
Very early on.
Samples.
Yeah.
Me, I was like just watching Maniac Cop, thinking life is good.
Which I didn't see till I was, well, anyway, that's another story. But that's how I got my start, with these dark ass movies,
Yeah.
And the more I started getting away with it, I was knee deep in these things. And my point being is that as kids, we couldn't just go in and do that. So when I turned 18, and as soon as I got my driver's license, I ran out and I got my very first video membership, and it was just from there. And even then, I had to sneak them in the house because by this time I was already 18, 19, and even though my brother and I were
sneak it in.
well, I was still living at home.
That's just wonders about people like us. Usually when people turn 18, they go out and buy cigarettes and try to finger blast like cheerleaders. We just wanted to watch horror movies.
Exactly.
And
Right. Exactly.
Read the script for Pulp Fiction.
I was still living at home, and by that time, my brother and I had our own TV VCR in the room. So I would sneak them in, and I would wait until he went to sleep, and it was rare that I was able to sneak him into the house. Yeah. So when I started doing this even more was after, I think I was about maybe 19. My dad worked for the Red Cross, and he would do these training sessions.
The band or the movement?
No, let me reword that. The American Red Cross. There, yeah. So he would do these training sessions out of town.
Yeah.
So I would stay at home because I had to work. Well, dude, this is where it took off. I mean, I would plan out.
So when he was about to leave, you were excited because you already knew.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm gonna make
I
a
already
pizza.
knew-
I'm gonna watch this movie.
Yes, dude, exactly.
My dad would go work like overnights because my dad used to do security at Sunkist in Tipton. He would go overnights, and I would just wait for him to leave so I could watch the latest Christopher Lambert movie, which in hindsight never was any good. It's like, dude, you're going blind. Stop acting.
So there was a there was a video rental house in Harlingen, Texas, where we lived, that called A1 Video. And it was, I mean, sleaze central. I mean, these guys didn't have the curtain in the back or the swinging saloon doors in the back. They had a freaking room. They had a room.
So you're like renting like Sleepaway Camp, The Fog, and like Debbie Does Dallas or Intercourse.
Again, she
Well,
comes up.
well,
Turn us to
yeah.
that topic today. Debbie. And what she does.
Douglas Does Dallas sounds about right. Yeah. But what's cool about this place, the more hardcore, the more hardcore horror films they had in that room.
Really?
Like if
I
you,
Spit in a Grave,
yes,
First Floor,
exactly.
those kind of stuff.
If I wanted to see zombie, I couldn't get it out front. I had to go in that back room.
Okay.
So they had everything from like
Was it beaded?
no,
Beaded curtains?
no, it was a door. It was just a door, and it had like this,
I'm like, I've seen all shit at home.
and it had this big poster on. No one under 18 is allowed in this room.
You're like, I don't care, why not?
Yeah, exactly. And I was 18 by 2 days or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if I wanted to rent Suspiria, I had to go into this particular room.
Suspiria was
So,
kept in
yeah,
there?
I almost forgot shirt today. So do either of you remember, or any of you remember, walking into your local, video store and selling popcorn? I don't know if they... I had front row video in Ontario, California.
Yeah.
Dude, I was in 4th grade, and I walk in and they had popcorn.
Sometimes they had hot
cappuccinos,
dogs, Cokes.
hot dogs.
Well, this particular
That's
store
where I rented most of my full moon entertainment
had
movies.
this particular store had a popcorn machine, but it was one of those popcorn
Dude,
machines
Dawn
that
Toys, come on now.
that they did a batch 6 weeks ago, and they hadn't cleaned it out, and they
There's like that freaking.
and they still had it on. So when you walked in, it smelled like boxed up stuff, mothballs, and this weird stench of old, popcorn and butter. So it was great.
But no.
Yeah.
It's like an old theater.
Well, yeah, it kind of smelled like an old.
So it smelled like the
Like the
aftertaste of
122
watching that
cinema.
movie Popcorn.
You know what? Sure, why not?
Oh, the other day, I was telling Chris about the Shallows, the shark movie, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, Jerry was at the theater with. We didn't even know we were gonna be there at the same time, and Jerry was there watching. Remember the
Oh, The Shallows, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
with the tentacles. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be able to dodge that.
So I was around when, from 80 to 82 when this stuff was taking off.
Yeah, yeah.
So you were probably more, a little bit older.
Years later,
Probably,
yeah.
from 82 to 84. What for you? What was it like? At that time.
Well, for me, my earliest memories, I mean, pre that kind of stuff, my earliest memories are I went to video stores a lot. This is Jerry, by the way. What's up, guys?
How you
girl?
doing?
What's up, girl? No, anyways, my earliest memories were mostly theatrical stuff. I remember going to E.T. twice in one day. I remember seeing Rhinestone Cowboy, Jungle Book, all those stuff. But as far as video stores, my parents were super into video stores right from the beginning. I remember even those video discs. That era, I remember they rented it once, and it took my dad a while to save up just to be able to rent this machine, which says how poor my dad was. Piece of shit. No, I'm just joking. So anyways, no, it was great. I remember, even as a very small child, I remember just being so enthralled and just amazed by just the feeling that you get walking into those old video stores.
Yeah.
And like you said, it will never be matched.
Nope.
It won't.
It's not. That's something that's never going to come back.
Walking up to a red box, it's so impersonal. You know, I don't want a machine telling me what I should rent.
Yeah.
I want to be confused by a poster and be like, okay, what's up with this? And the clerk tells you, okay, this movie's called Maniac. You shouldn't rent it. Which means 5 minutes later, I'm going to beg my dad to let me rent it.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
Tell me I'm not going to watch. Tell me I'm going to watch something. I'm going to watch that shit.
Yeah. And I've said this before. And one of the things I love most about these 80s films were these ones that tried to pass off this BS that, oh, you know, no one under 17 would be a minute without an adult.
Screw that.
Yes.
I will watch
The moment I would see that type of disclaimer, I mean, without even thinking, I would pick it up and rent it.
Well, a lot of my earliest video store memories are very sadistic. Because my dad, I don't know why, he felt the need just to be a dick all the time. My dad would always just mess with me. He would know, like, you know, I would read about a movie, and I would get excited, you know, because I went to theaters a lot, so I'd see trailers. So by the time they came to VHS, which nowadays it's like a month or two after they go to the theaters.
Yeah.
But back then it was almost, what, a year sometimes?
Almost more, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember so many movies, like, obviously it's not horror, but like Karate Kid 2, or a movie that I consider very much horror, but a lot of people argue with me, Cobra. I told my dad, okay, this movie's coming out this day. Let's go to the video store to rent Cobra. I want to see this movie so much. So I would go. We went to the video store. I believe it was Major Video on Mooney Boulevard in Visalia, California. 93277, guys. 93277. We would go to Major Video, and I went to go rent Cobra, and my dad went with me. And my dad was like, okay, go look at the Nintendo games. And this is back in NES days. Go, you know, and I'd go look for, like, I don't know, Three Stooges or whatever shitty Nintendo games. Excite Bike, which is the best game of all time, guys.
Nice.
Best game of all time. Anyways, and my dad would always play this trick on me, and I don't know why I didn't learn it after the second or third or 25th time he did this to me. He would always come back and say, well, it looks like it's all checked out, guys. We can't get this movie tonight. And I would start crying every time because I was obviously a little bitch. And I would bawl. And I remember Cobra especially. My dad would be like, well, it looks like the clerk just told me everyone checked out Cobra. And I'd be like, no, I want to see Sylvester Stallone against a satanic cult.
That's all I need with Seed People. I cried when I couldn't
You
watch
cried about Seed People? I'm talking about Cobra.
I know,
You're talking about Seed People.
I apologize.
I'm talking about George Cosmatos and Sylvester Stallone. You're talking about Charles Band.
I know.
I love you, Charlie.
I know.
So anyways,
It's so terrible.
he pays my bills every once in a while, so I can shut up. I love you, Charlie. So anyways, deliriummagazine.com. So anyways.
Hashtag shameless plug.
Yeah, right? Shameless plug. Anyways, so my dad would tell me, like, oh, it looks like everyone checked out Cobra, and I'd start bawling. And he'd be like, well, you gotta choose something else. And being a little brat, because I was very much a brat, I'm very calm and reserved these days, obviously, but like back then I was like, no, I want to watch Cobra. And so I would tell my brother to rent something, and he'd rent Short Circuit every goddamn week.
Part 1.
Which is great until you've seen it 24 times, and you want Ali Sheedy just to shut the hell up. So we'd get Short Circuit again, and my dad would rent a movie, and the thing about my dad would be like, I'm only letting you use your allowance to rent a movie if you let me rent porn. So my dad would always rent porn.
Really? He'd go to the beaded curtain like we talked about?
He would, and he would just leave us standing there like idiots. So he'd rent some movies, we'd take it back to my house, and every single time, like clockwork, he'd be like, okay, well, it's time to watch a movie. And I'd pout, like, oh, I'm not going to eat my hamburger helper because we're on welfare. And my dad would put in the movie.
Wow.
And it would always be the movie I wanted to watch, that bastard. He would always play tricks on me.
Like Warlock?
No, he would put on a movie and I'd be like, wait, why does the credit say Cobra, Dad? Dad, why does the credit say Cobra?
What?
And
the whole time?
Every time
That's
we would get there
awesome.
early enough to rent the movie, but it would never be that. So that
kind of cool.
Cobra for me is, I mean, it's a few years after, obviously, 81, but Cobra to me is the first movie that I remember just getting from a video store and getting it back home and watching it and just being like, this is everything I love about life. I don't love my mom or my dad as much as I love Cobra. And I'm sorry for shameless plug, everyone, but I am currently writing Cops, Colts, and... I forgot the name of the book. Cops, Colts, and the Making of Cobra. It's a book about the making of Cobra. But that's
Is that
why,
one of the
because
sunglasses
I
with the
love
red background?
Cobra.
Or
Yes.
no? Yes.
I'm
it
writing
is.
a book on Cobra.
Okay.
So anyways, yes, Cobra is my mecca. It is my god. It is my heaven. That is my earliest VHS memory. There's Cobra. There's so many other movies that I remember getting. I remember being so enthralled and interested in the VHS cover of Reanimator.
Oh yeah.
That was just the coolest cover ever. I remember Scanners scared the living hell out of me.
I don't remember Scanners. What's the
It was
basic
like
synopsis?
No, that's the photo of Michael Ironside.
Ironside just losing his
Just
shit.
the- yeah.
on
No,
camera,
but the movie, what is
basically.
it about again? I forget exactly. I honestly.
About people that can make people's heads blow up.
Yeah.
It's in a spaceship or the
that-
future, right?
I remember
A
Silent
little bit,
Night,
yeah.
Deadly Night ruined every
Part
Christmas
4
for
is
me.
my favorite.
I don't think I've seen 4.
Where it shows all the toy maker.
Oh, the toy
Oh
maker.
my
Mickey
God.
Rooney.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
hold on,
the
wait.
best.
I just want to hold on, wait. I want to take a moment and make fun of that movie really quick.
Please don't.
No, wait, hold on, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
You might not know this, but Jerry, you do.
Of course.
Mickey Rooney was a big. He was so against the Saturday Night Deadly Night movies. I mean, he like rallied to have these things banned.
Yes.
For them to get made, and he ends up being in part 4. Really, dude? Thanks.
Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when Michael
I'm sorry.
Caine won the Oscar. I forgot what movie, and he couldn't accept it because he was filming Jaws: The Revenge. And then people
Oh.
asked him like what he thought of the movie. He's like, I haven't seen it, but I've seen the house it built.
Oh my god.
Money talk. No,
Yeah.
I
Cobra,
apologize.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, Reanimator. I remember being so scared of like those like taboo boxes that, like you said, you have to go behind the curtain. To see,
Yes,
like,
exactly.
what's been on
The
your
big
grave.
ones or what?
Any Herschel
What are
Gordon
those
Lewis
called?
movie. There were so many movies, even some of the later Sleepaway Camp sequels. Like, is it 3 when she has the backpack full of like Freddy?
Yes.
No, 2. That's 2.
Two?
That's
drew-
2.
Okay, as a kid, that drew me in. That
That didn't
cover.
draw me in. That
It drew me-
scared the hell out of me because if
See,
this bitch had a backpack
She's
full of all these
badass.
guys, she's badass.
Right.
Like, I'm not messing
Exactly.
with her.
Exactly. Now that drew me in, but the movie was upsetting. It's
What?
so terrible.
Dude, it's one of my favorites. Part 2 is
Sorry,
so
it's
great.
terrible to me, I'm sorry.
But I
It's-
remember having so many great memories of going to the video store and all that stuff. And my dad, we had a VCR that it was the top loader,
Mhm.
kind of popped
My
up.
favorite.
Yes.
And I always, as a kid, I remember being so excited about that because for some reason I just thought it was like a robot or something.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I thought like we owned.
You're in
basically a
fucking right.
Terminator,
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
Rise of the Machines. It's rising up, all right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Did you say Rise of the Machines?
Yes.
That was such a bad movie.
I know.
Arnold Schwarzenegger
It
told
went
him
with
to
the-
talk to the hand.
But yet he just clowned us about Sleepaway Camp 2.
Oh, Sleepaway Camp
It
2.
went-
By the way, guys, Rise of the Machines.
It went with the conversation. I'm
Terminator
sorry,
that
people.
Makes her breasts expand.
It went, it went with the
This-
conversation. I'm sorry, people.
I will say this, and this has nothing to do with the 80s of VHS, but one thing Rise of the Machines, which is Terminator 3, has going for it, and I'm going to get a lot of crap for this.
Here we
Nick
go.
Stahl is a better John Connor than
Connor,
David Furlong is. Nick
Ooh,
Stahl's great.
mhm,
He's great in that
mhm.
movie. It's just the movie's awful.
I can see.
But
it,
yeah,
I can
that's
see
my
that, I can
memory
see it,
of
that's good.
early on. I remember that, like I said, the first episode, I remember just being so interested in every cover of every Friday the 13th movie. Because it was all variations of the same mask.
Yeah.
Just different things, you know. Whether it's like a white mask with light going through it, or the grave with Jason Lives, or the knife in part 4. You know, like there's so many variations that, or like
Wait, the knife to the mask or what?
that was 4, yeah.
Four.
or like-
That's the video game, remember?
Or like Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember loving those covers because the
Oh,
paintings
don't
were just
even.
so immaculate.
Like
Nightmare on Elm
the
Street Part 1.
the covers that freaked me out the most, and you just mentioned one a minute ago, and I wanted to,
Yeah, go for it.
was Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah.
Like first
Gore
when
Girls.
when Charles Band put Lewis's stuff out on the Wizard label,
Yeah.
the boxes were like super graphic.
Yeah,
Like
they
the
were.
one that freaked me out the most, and I'm looking at it right now at Valley Mart in Westlake, Texas.
Blood Red.
Color Me Blood Red,
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Yeah, I already knew
He
that before you
called
said
it.
that.
He called
That
it.
Yeah,
that is
he
such
told
a
you.
that is a disturbing
I
cover.
don't remember that. Is that movie?
It's about this guy who he's an artist and he's not making any money. People aren't giving a
Don't
crap
tell me
about
he's
his stuff.
painting with actual blood.
Yes,
or-
exactly. It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Really?
So the
Alright.
cover of this
Really?
is the
That sounds very Twilight Zone.
the painter has tied this girl like to a wall,
Yeah.
has bound her. She's dead. Her head's flopped to one side, and he's like basically disemboweling her
Like
and
a pallet.
collecting her blood with like a
Yeah.
bowl.
No, it's
And that's the
gnarly.
front cover. Yeah.
Cover.
That and the Wizard of Gore.
Yeah.
Those are the two that were like, what the.
Do you remember the remake of Wizard of Gore where like Jeffrey Combs basically played Rob Zombie?
Is that the one with poor Crispin Glover?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Sorry.
Chris McGuire.
Sorry, sweetie. Sorry,
Or
darling.
Kristen.
But
Slap
no.
on the back of my Dragula. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But like even Gore Girls, and it was the Ghastly. Was it the Ghastly ones that
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did?
yeah.
Yeah. All these covers were just so. They didn't even.
They were gnarly.
They didn't even tease you. It was just
You know, it's like,
up
this is what
front.
you're getting.
Bam. This is what it is.
Disemboweled
Yes.
people,
Okay,
gnarliness.
one that majorly got me at my
Which one?
when I was a little kid in Pomona, California, in my local video
So you
store,
went to the Glass House a lot?
Zombie. Thank you. I've seen the Smashing Pumpkins there before. No, but yes, Zombie.
Oh, it's
Dude,
not,
I didn't
yeah.
even know who the fuck. It's Fulci, right?
Yeah.
Please, I'm so glad I said that correctly. I didn't know the fuck Fulci is at the time. All I know is that's fucking creepy.
Well, yeah, it's like
That's
skeleton like
creepy.
worms.
And I thought
Well-
I thought it was a chain coming out of his eye. It's
Well, that poster
worms.
right there that you're looking at was one of the
My dad
very
told my mom, "Oh,
first.
that's a mirror, like,
That was one of the very first horror images I ever saw.
What's funny is the cover of Zombie is
This is
actually
full
my
truth,
dad, guys.
Oh my god.
That's what he looks like.
There are less worms,
Love you,
though.
Dad.
You know, and not for anything. I mean, if you
Cross between that and just Leatherface.
if you know your
Ooh,
horror video
the new
history,
one.
Fulci Zombie
Yeah.
was notorious at the time. I mean, it put Charles Band on the map.
Yeah.
It put Wizard Video on the map.
Wait, isn't he Toxic Avenger and all those?
No, that's
No, that's Trauma.
Charles
Oh,
Band is
sorry.
Full
Is
Moon.
Full Moon.
Or
Oh,
Empire.
I'm sorry. So who's Trauma?
Kaufman.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Lloyd.
Yes.
Right? Okay, yes.
Uncle Lloyd.
So,
Okay, guys. Uncle.
so Zombie coming to the U.S. and in its cut form, because I think it was cut.
Yeah, it was at first.
People were renting that left and right. I mean, that's one of the first horror movies that I remember people actually renting over and over and
I remember
over
when
again.
I first walked into my, like I said,
It
my.
was dangerous.
Yeah,
it was-
exactly.
mhm.
You know, you could rent, and no offense to these movies because obviously I adore the hell out of them. You could rent Dream Warriors and get bored with how mediocre it is, or you can rent Zombie and think about how just gnarly it is. It will leave you with nightmares.
Yeah.
Hey man, real quick, just to the Dream Warriors because Lionel knows, and I had to come out in the clear right now. Okay, Dream Warriors is my favorite one as far as nostalgia goes.
I'm sorry.
It's a terrible movie. Jerry's absolutely correct. They wait the whole movie to get their powers, and they die within 2 minutes.
Yes.
Part 1 is the best. It's the
Well,
best one.
okay,
And
obviously-
part 4 or
okay,
5
Nightmare
is
on Elm Street,
4.
Nightmare on Elm Street's the best.
Part
obviously,
4 is
but
great.
Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the Dream Master is.
Don't even bring up part 2.
Oh
Go
my-
ahead.
I will bring up part 2.
Please
You know why I
don't.
will bring up part 2?
'Cause I'll
it's
get-
fucking amazing.
And I will get.
It's amazing.
And I will get double teamed by this bitch and this bitch right here.
Okay, guys, I don't know what he's
the
saying.
worst
He's not
one.
getting double teamed this episode. Sorry, guys. So anyways,
Unfortunately, I could.
Clue
A boy
Gulliver-
can dream.
Clue Gulliver in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Damn it, Jesse.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
I don't. You know what? I really want to with Lionel and with Jerry, and even with Eddie. I want to sit down. I almost want to do it today, but it didn't happen. And watch part 2 with you guys. I just.
Well,
wanted to-
you know, one of
'cause
the
it's been so long, and I just couldn't stand it. It broke everything.
How could you not like? Okay.
And you think
okay,
all the
okay,
homoeroticism I would like it? You
no.
would think. I
Okay,
don't.
guys, this is gonna get heated just for a
Oh my
minute,
God.
but this is all in love. How can it break down everything when it's the second fucking movie in the series? There's nothing to break down.
That's true,
There's
and
nothing to
that's a
break down.
valid, very good point you brought up last time.
There's nothing to break down.
Conventions, you're right. Because the first movie says you
I
have to
can
be
understand
asleep.
if
They're
I can
not
understand if
asleep.
like part
He's
5
popping
and
out of the
part 6
pool.
had like rules
Killing
that are getting
people.
broken, but it's part 2.
yeah.
I
True.
didn't even know what they were doing.
And that's
at
a
that
valid,
point.
great point that you brought up. But at the same time,
And it
the
has
first
Marshall
one.
Bell naked, getting whipped and scratched. That's funny to look at.
No.
Robert Shea in leather.
Okay, yes.
No, that's horrible to look at.
Oh yeah.
Let's
I'm
just
not convinced.
let's just stick with my reason for watching it. Robert Rustler.
Like I said, homoerotic.
Yes.
Speaking of,
I should
Love
I
him.
don't-
Love him.
I don't know when this is going to be posted,
I don't
but
like it.
hopefully it'll be before that. I'm actually sitting down with Robert Rustler this Tuesday.
Oh my god.
If you want to go, let me know.
Hi, Robert.
What's up, Rob?
I-
But yeah, but we actually, what we do have planned, and I'll tease it here right now. We actually plan to do an episode on Nightmare on Elm Street 2 versus Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So keep a lookout for that.
Okay,
It's
don't
gonna
start me.
happen.
So, anyways,
There.
Yeah.
on the first episode, by the way, Lionel.
And bad and sad, you dummy.
On the first episode that you guys heard, Lionel did quote me as he said my favorite Freddy Krueger, or sorry, my best one was part 3, the Dream Warrior. Not true.
It's okay.
It's my favorite one as far as nostalgia, but part 1 is the best movie.
Well, we
But I
talked
also
about
love
this
part
before.
4. I love part 4.
We don't really count the first film. The
It's
first film is a league of its
underrated.
own. We go by the sequels. And favorites is one
I
thing,
agree,
but
I agree, I
but we
agree,
all
I
have to agree the best
Part 4.
one. Effects
That's-
wise,
we were talking
story, whatever,
yesterday, right?
is
The
part 4.
cockroach.
It's Dream Master.
Well,
Sorry,
thing
the
about-
feeding the
thing about
cockroach,
Nightmare on
right?
Elm Street 4 is this.
Mhm.
In the whole scheme of things, Part 4 is everything that Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street
Yes,
is about.
exactly.
That it,
Dreams, the
what's that called? That
atmosphere,
it,
just the aesthetic.
not envelops. Sorry, it's the wrong
Everything.
word. Yeah.
Dream Master is everything that
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street series.
And I will give
That's
props
4,
to,
right?
and I have to give props to Rennie Harlan.
Randy Harlan, I will
Yeah.
back you up till the end.
Exactly.
I'm
Yep.
sorry you haven't made a good movie in a decade, but I will stand by you. I will hold your Viking hair until
And you'll be
come
on
back with
Dance
Yeah.
in the Dark
fervor.
Part 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So- So like you, Matt. Okay, since you're a little.
Who's gonna fight right now, guys?
Yeah, I know. Shit.
It's televised.
Since you're younger than us in here,
Mhm.
what was it like for you? Like, because you probably hit video stores probably the I want to say maybe 93, 94. What was that like back then? I mean, what was it like to walk into one then?
Well, I actually remember earlier than 93 or 94, when I was younger, like I was saying, the neighborhood video store that I would go to, the video store I'd go to, like I said, I saw Full Cheese Zombie was one of the first. I remember I walked into the store, I turned to the right, and as soon as you walked into the store, when you turned to the right, that was the horror section. So as soon as I turned to the right, in the upper right-hand corner, right where the ceiling, started and the wall ended, I saw Full Cheese Zombie, and I just loved it. And I remember a lot earlier than the 90s, but I just remember, like Jerry said in the other episode, he remembers being in VHS rental places and different stores and stuff where they had the actual like coffins popped up, like displays, like.
Oh yeah, they had a little
And
little
you
gimmicks in the
and
store.
you said that you didn't experience that much of yourself because yours were in more of supermarkets,
well,
so you didn't experience it as much as Jerry and I did, as far as you being in a freaking like a video rental place and then having a full display of Baby Boom Part 2.
Yeah, because like by the time the mid to late 80s came, we were already living in South Texas, and it's very different from living here. It's just very different. But there at the time, you could rent, and I said this before, you can rent a movie anywhere. You can rent a movie while you're putting gas at the gas station. You could rent a movie picking up your drugs at the drugstore. Any place.
Even your local drug dealer renting movies.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much.
You want cranks? That's fine. Do you want Beetlejuice?
But I mean,
The
you
first
could
one's
rent
free.
anywhere.
Saturday night special.
Yeah, you could walk into any
Some heroin and Vice Squad.
I love that movie. Stop.
Oh, I love it.
You could walk into any place of business, and every place you went to had a video rental. I mean, and you would think, especially me now being older, I would think, okay, that's probably oversaturation of the market. But it was a thrill for me because every freaking where we went, I was able to get away from my parents for a while, but I was able to learn these things. Like we would go to the grocery store there in town where we lived, and I would walk over to the video rental area, and I would see The Mutilator, I would see Nightmare, I would see Basket Case, and
I have to ask you this,
don't.
because no one I ever talked to remembers this. Do you remember when McDonald's sold VHS tapes for a while?
I have one of them. I have
Yes.
their.
Ghost, which is my second favorite film
Dude,
of all time.
sometimes they come free or they just charge it. Like if you bought a
They
value meal,
charged. They were
no,
like $7.
but if you bought a value meal, they would charge a couple bucks or whatever.
Really?
Yeah,
I bought
absolutely.
Ghost. I bought Coming to America.
No, down south it would be. I remember
Oh,
it was
that's great.
$2 when you bought a value meal. It was $2. I remember for the movie.
I should have bought a value
In
meal, 'cause I paid
Ontario,
$7 for that
right?
shit.
I got a mini
I
meal.
would have
Good lord.
paid 20 for anything Patrick Swayze related. Ghost, Ghost. They had, I can't remember what Star Trek
Oh
movie it was.
my
Ghost, Star
darling.
Trek, Coming to America, and a few others.
my
They sold
God.
at McDonald's.
You see, and brings me back to my point.
Yeah.
It was so prevalent back then. And it was so popular. It was
Yeah.
everywhere. Even when like
How about the Pizza Hut ones? Remember when you'd order pizza, get Mr. Mom for free?
I never got
You
Mr.
know
Mom, but I
that.
got.
You know
I got.
Okay,
the
I had
X-Men.
completely- I had completely forgotten about that till you just said that. That's
You
right.
know exactly.
That's
My
right.
Mr. Mom
You
from
get My
Pizza
Blue
Hut?
Heaven. Like what the fuck? Like
My Blue
You know?
Heaven. I saw that in the theater.
I
Wow,
saw it in a
it's
drive-thru
so
with
bad.
Exorcist 3. I know you love
Whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa,
I know
whoa,
you
whoa,
love
hold
it.
on.
What
We
a
gotta pause
weird
for a second.
feature, right?
You saw My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin and
With Exorcist 3.
Exorcist 3,
With the
which
decapitated
is one
Virgin
of the 10
Mary.
best films of all time.
I know you love it. Yes, I do.
woke the bear.
I know.
Oh, do not.
I
mention
woke, I
Exorcist
poked,
3
I
in
did
my
everything
presence.
else. I know.
Nuts.
That's why
You
I
have
brought
no
her
idea
up.
how much I love that
I
film.
no, I do because
Exorcist
I heard
3,
you.
Legion, which is the novel it's based on. John
Ooh, I
Carpenter
didn't know
was
that.
set to direct it, but
Really?
William Peter Blatty is a fucking diva.
I didn't know
I
that.
love Exorcist 3 more than I love The Exorcist.
Ay, que la-
Exorcist 3 is the best film that ever examines faith and horror and what you believe in and friends
And the psyche
and
in general,
demonic
like,
entities,
yeah, it just
satanic stuff. Brad Dourif at his fucking best. Exorcist 3. George C. Scott. Oh my god, I love that.
By
film.
the way, remember The Exorcist? Remember The Exorcist where we saw it with Casey? Remember she's saying it's uncut. They didn't have the spider walk.
Well,
Oh,
that was an
yeah.
additional film. That was
But
added
no,
later.
and I understand.
No,
that
no,
part,
when we went to when
but it was marketed that way.
Yeah.
You're gonna see
The
all the
version you've
scenes
never
that were
seen.
cut right.
yeah, and it
That's
ended
the
up
wanna see
only
those scenes.
thing. I'm sorry, that movie still. I thought it would be cheesy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see her head spinning around. She's gonna throw up. She's gonna bang herself with the crucifix. It's gonna be cheesy. What
You
a
thought
scary
that it was
movie.
going to be cheesy because she was going to bang herself with a crucifix.
No, that was
How is
just
that
one of the
cheesy?
factors.
That is a
No, no,
fun
no.
Saturday for me.
it now
That's what I call
it's
Saturday
cool
night.
that you
not
guys
bad, isn't it?
and it's cool that you guys brought up The Exorcist because that was a big in
No, but really,
my
that's-
heyday.
that's ugly.
Yeah.
In my heyday of the video rental boom, a lot of people were renting that movie.
Yeah.
That was and that was
ugly.
Love it.
that was the one movie
movie.
that
It
was
stands
like
up to this day.
that was the one
Yeah,
movie
it
that was
stands
like
up so good.
it was
So
off
well,
limits,
I'm sorry.
off limits. I mean, it was
No,
off
I know
limits.
it was so taboo.
And all, we talked to a lot of these kids on the playground I went to school with. They were like, "The Exorcist this, The Exorcist that. It's the scariest thing I've ever
Okay, let me
seen."
ask you a
But
question. Did they call Reagan the Exorcist when you
Yes.
were in school?
Uh-huh.
And all of the kids in my
Reagan?
school, they're like, watch out. The Exorcist is so scary in The Exorcist. And, like, she's not called the Exorcist.
Yes.
That's actually the priest.
that's the horror version of Zelda. Zelda is the girl.
Oh,
Oh, thank
or
you.
they would call the shark Jaws.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, his name's
And it's
Shark.
Or Bart Simpson or Al Bundy. No, The Simpsons or Married with Children.
Yeah.
No.
so
it's not
finally
Al
when it
Bundy.
was released in theaters, it was back in like 2001, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I finally mustered up the courage to say, okay, I'm gonna finally see this damn movie.
Were you let down?
Yeah. Oh no, but I'll tell you why though. I mean, as soon as I made my decision as to how I felt about the film, I realized why. Because as an adult, and you see it for the first time, it's one thing. When you see it as a 9-year-old,
Yeah.
that's a totally different
thing,
experience.
Exactly.
So I understand why these kids that I went to school with were traumatized by this film.
Traumatized.
It was that's Lloyd Kaufman, sorry.
I know.
Did I like it? Yeah, but it didn't pack the punch that I was hoping it would. But because of that one reason, though, as an
I'm
adult,
gonna
you
quote
watch.
here.
No, really.
Even as an adult, it still does that to me. Like it scares the living hell out of me because of the stuff we talked about in the first episode. You and I both grew up in very religious upbringings.
Yeah.
So for me, because it makes me uncomfortable, that's my other than slashers. That's my favorite subgenre of horror is the religious, satanic,
Really?
demonic stuff because it makes me uncomfortable and it forces me. And that's kind of why I like Exorcist 3 the most. It forces me to think about, okay, how do I feel about religion? How do I feel about faith? How do I feel about hate,
Yeah.
death,
What's that one where
sickness, all that stuff? And for the Exorcist, I remember I showed my second wife. Sorry guys, I've been married twice. I showed my second wife The Exorcist, and she's like,
Who's keeping count?
"Yeah, it's not that great." And that's the moment I realized I wanted to divorce her because how could you not like The Exorcist? Sorry guys, these are like bad jokes. But,
No, that was a great.
Yeah,
joke.
that was
but I
good.
will show the third one at some point. When
I
we get
have
That was a
movies
great joke.
Yes.
that I think should be in the horror genre that I think only you and I have seen.
Like
And
what?
your dad still has them. A Thief in the Night.
We're not gonna go there.
Yeah, have you seen those?
We're not gonna go there.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
those.
I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the loop.
Those movies
Yeah.
terrified me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because-
those.
Are they
ter-
Mexican? Are they Mexican
no, I'll
ones?
get to that in a
No,
sec.
they're-
They terrified me so much that I will not talk about them or watch
Okay,
them.
What's the one
Yeah.
where? And I was gonna ask Jerry, and I know you'll be able to correct. If Jerry can't think of this, I know you'll be able to. Where it's a more recent one where the freaking Jesus comes off the cross.
That isn't recent. That's
Sacrament?
80s.
What is it? No. So what is it called?
No, it's the one that I reviewed for you. Catacombs.
Catacombs,
Yeah, that when I saw that, I was like, "What the?" Yeah.
Have you seen the Jesus on Tulare Street at the church that looks like he's asking to be helped down?
Oh, we always make fun of that.
Oh,
The one
religious horror is the best in my opinion. Obviously
was
not
it
the
packs a
stuff-
different type of punch.
It does because, like I said a second ago, it forces you to examine and think about how you feel about different things.
Yeah.
And that's why I
Right,
love
the whole
horror so
organized
much.
religion.
Yeah, totally. And not just religion, but just horror in general. It forces you to think about like how you feel about death, how you feel about life,
Okay.
how you feel about love, hate,
Exactly.
anger, viciousness, anything.
That's great that Jerry brought that up
And
because
the thing about other genres, I'm just joking,
No, no.
guys. I'm not talking about other genres this episode. The thing about other
Surprising.
genres, you're not gonna watch like Dear John and be like, "Well, I'm questioning how I feel about love." But if you watch something like I don't know, The Seventh Seal, it's not that great, but you find yourself thinking like,
Do you mean the Seventh Sign with Demi Moore?
yeah, The Seventh Sign, not the
Okay.
Burning Man movie, guys.
Okay,
Sorry.
I just want to clear that up.
Seventh Sign,
it's
Demi
funny
Moore.
because someone caught that. I didn't
Yes.
catch that, but
Yes.
at least someone caught that.
You're right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna
No,
turn in my nerd card.
with what Jerry was saying earlier too, in the last podcast, he was saying that when you watch horror movies, it makes you examine death at least one time more. Obviously more than once, but
Yeah.
it makes you death. Someone dies, and you have to deal with it and examine it.
You live
In the same way you
vicariously through
said.
these films.
Exactly.
You know,
Mhm.
it makes you think of like not just the typical like what would I do in this situation?
You're right. I'm not gonna fall when someone's chasing me.
No,
You know.
but it forces
Sword
you
House
to
Massacre.
think of like, okay, what happens after you die? You know what I mean? How do you feel
Mhm.
about it? And that's why
whole
I think
mortality.
that's why I think The Exorcist, and for me especially Exorcist 3, there's that whole monologue at the end where George C. Scott talks about like, I believe in sickness, I believe in all this stuff, but I don't believe in you. And it's like, that's epic.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And even if you read the novel, which is called Legion,
I watched that in the drive-in movies in
It's
Pomona,
great.
California.
but if you
All I remember is a decapitated Virgin Mary statue. That's all I
that's
remember.
one of my favorite
Is that
images
the?
in any film.
I'm correct, right?
yeah, one of my favorite
Dude, and
movies.
this is weird
But,
music, and she's just.
In the book, Kinderman, which is
Legion?
the George C. Scott character, it's interesting because, in the book, his character Kinderman, who is actually, a lot of people don't understand, but he is in the original film played by someone else. In the third film, and in the book specifically, his character Kinderman has dementia and Alzheimer's, so he's slowly losing his mind while he's trying to solve this crime of all these murders, while they kind of seemingly point to, a lot of stuff that connects him to like the events of the first film. And what's great about that is the third film specifically, it deals so much with just like faith and like what you believe, what you don't believe, how you feel about things, that like I feel like it almost transcends the genre to go from like horror just to like almost one of the most important philosophical kind of debates for anybody. And fuck the Exorcist 3.
And
True.
now the best part about the whole video revolution of the 80s was that all these movies
Yeah.
that had gotten, little play, limited releases, maybe
And
straight
also
to
got
video.
shit from people, like
Yeah.
religious
But,
groups and
but what I'm getting at is that
violence
all these little movies, they suddenly found these massive audiences.
outlets. Mhm.
Stuff like, I'm looking at right here,
Mm-hmm.
House by the Cemetery. House by the Cemetery was a big drive-in hit,
Dude, what a great
in the early 80s, but when it was released on video, it found like this whole new audience, and it gained cult
the
status.
cellar scene.
Yeah.
Oh, what, dude! The cellar scene on House by the Cemetery. How intense is that?
Oh, it's great.
Armando originally lent that to me when I worked at Penny Shop way back in the day when I lived in my 2-story apartment in 2003 and 2004. And dude, I was so impressed by that scene
No, it's
when she's going up
great,
the stairs,
great,
and
great.
oh my god, it's so creepy! Like, what a creepy.
Like if it wasn't
movie.
for like
Great suspense.
the
Great
VHS
suspense.
boom, a lot of these movies that we regard so highly, we would have never gotten them.
Well, there's so many movies for me that I never would have discovered had it not been for
Exactly.
Because like I said, my dad would play tricks on me, but there would also be
That's
times
awesome.
where people would legitimately check out everything I'd go for.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, okay,
Remember
I'm
that?
Here, I'm here. Nothing's here what I want. Let me try something else, and I would pick stuff that maybe I
Yeah.
never would have seen without that happening. I mean, there's so many movies like Watchers.
Oh my
you know,
god!
or like, I mean,
Wait a minute, that's the forest one?
Corey Haim,
Oh, I think Watchers 1, 2, and 3.
Gene Kuntz.
Okay, yes, it is.
That,
uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh.
I just remember so many different VHS movies that I would just love based on the artwork that I gave it a shot.
I'm looking at one video cassette right here,
Uh-huh.
The Lift.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's
elevator?
yeah, it's a killer elevator. That's a German film, a
freaking,
German-based film. Had
in
there not
England
been,
or
VHS distribution, it would have never gotten here.
Yeah.
We would have never gotten to see it, and it would have become one of my weird favorites.
Well, there are so many films also that like relied on VHS. I mean, we've mentioned it a couple times throughout this episode, but like the Full Moon movies.
Mhm.
Oh my! Oh dear God!
Trancers 2,
Don't!
Trancers 3. Those are some of my favorite films of all time.
Demonic Toys.
Demonic Toys.
Wonderful.
Is later, yeah, this later on.
Not Dollman
I
Versus,
love
but
it.
just Demonic Toys. How
the
great!
Puppet Master films. Oh my god, I grew up loving
Part
those.
3.
And after the VHS, they'd have like the segments where they would show like, oh, you can order these if you want.
Yeah,
Or, like,
at the end of the tape, yeah.
Yeah, all of those films, like I mean,
Shrunken
I grew up,
Heads. Come on now.
Right? I grew up loving Full Moon. I grew up loving Trauma. All this
Yes.
stuff just because of video stores.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
100%
Exactly.
because of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you're right. Now you brought up a good point. Like for every Exorcist movie there is, for every Amityville Horror, for every mainstream success that
Yeah.
There's
that
a sleeper,
sold.
huh?
There's a sleeper. You got freaking Pieces. You got Squirm. You got Visiting Hours.
I
You
remember
got
like Relentless 2, Relentless 4. It's like
Oh dear.
those wouldn't exist if it wasn't for like video stores.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
Mhm. And I was saying earlier, I know a lot of people talk shit about Critters because it's a cheesy movie, but
Well,
you know
then
what? If
punch
Critters
them
were
in the
after
goose,
me,
because
that's
Critters is great, and Critters 2
thank
is
you,
even better.
thank you,
He
thank
almost
you,
turned
Jerry.
into Freddy.
Thank you, Jerry. Again, Critters. They say how cheesy it is, dude. If those things were after me, those are scary. They go for the fucking, like they go for your throat.
I
Like they
love
don't
those
fuck around.
movies.
They roll.
Love
They
those
roll up in a
movies.
ball and they go straight for
That,
your
and
throat.
like you're not gonna
You know?
see
That's scary.
You're not gonna watch Cinemax or Showtime and see Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Right.
You may see
Exactly.
the
Go to
side
a video
boob,
store
Yeah.
and see that cover of him
You'll
looking
see
in
side
the mirror,
boob,
and
Yep.
you're gonna be like, "What is this about?"
Henry,
You're
yeah.
gonna rent it. You're gonna take it home, and your
The
dad's
side
gonna
boob
beat
out,
the
really?
shit out of you with a belt for renting that.
He's gonna.
You know, and that's great. That's great. That was one beating I happily took
Huh.
because you know what? It's Henry Portrait of a
Speak for
Serial
yourself.
Killer.
Mhm.
And like another thing too is a lot of these foreign films.
Yeah.
It's like me that I
Calm
have
down.
this.
Your body is
Me that
dead
I
because
have
he
a-
got killed last night, Jennifer.
No.
Yeah, the Italian movie.
No,
right?
yeah. But what I'm saying is
Why do they have
these
long
these
titles?
these Italian giallo films
Why
that
do they
I
have
love
long titles then?
because
They're great.
yeah,
Honestly, name a real one. If I'm being, of course, I'm being stupid.
The Night That Evelyn Came Out of the Grave.
Dear God, how long
Your
is
vices,
that title?
your vices, the locker room, and only I have the key.
There
I
was
need a
on
save
podcast,
point for that
and
title.
It was really long and.
See?
I'm just kidding.
And that's the other one. That's the newest one.
I love the Giallo title.
That's the
I know,
newest
me too.
Argenti.
It's so
The
silly.
newest Argenti. It's so great.
The Killer Reserve 9 seats.
Yeah.
The great.
The
The
Witch That Came from Sea.
and my point is though that these foreign films, if there wouldn't have been VHS, we would have never gotten them, and I would have never fallen in love with them. So I owe a
What about
lot.
those really like extravagant, massive boxes? Not the
The
small ones. but
clamshells?
Huge.
No, the big
boxes.
boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry
Like for
to say, but
example,
the big old porno
Charles
ones,
Band.
yeah.
Charles Band released a lot of his stuff big box.
Yeah.
A lot of video
Tried it a
gems.
few years ago too with to no avail.
Well, whatever happened about that? Now that let's talk about that really quick. How they found like this big archive of a bunch of stuff that never sold. Were those genuine boxes that never sold?
It was
don't know.
bogus.
Because when I first read that, I was like, okay, wait. You want and this is no tea, no shade, but you want to tell me that
You already had hers.
no. You mean to tell me that all these copies of, Zombie, Monster Hunter, Fear, they were just sitting away somewhere? Really?
Mysteriously in an attic. Come
You know,
on.
I'm not sure.
Come
I
on.
mean,
You
I I kind of like,
I'm
I'd
sure
like
that
to
was
say,
very Sesame Street
now,
there.
what I do, and
like
the first thing I thought to myself after I had that thought, I said, well, if they're remaking these and they're putting them out
Yeah.
to increase nostalgia value, just come out and say it. Because I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they're pricey as hell. They're like $40 a piece. Now, would I spend that on what looks like a genuine, original I Spit on Your Grave box? I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I think, kids like me who hold VHS so near and dear to their hearts, jump at opportunities to buy stuff like this because of that one thing, the nostalgia value. The moment we see a big box, we think, oh my God, we're 10 years old, we're 11 years old.
April
Our wallets
Fools.
hate us for
April
nostalgia
Fools.
purposes.
Who hates us?
Our wallets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at this room. It's living proof. I mean,
Yeah.
people look at me and they see this room. They're like, dude, how
April
much
Fools, I'm sorry.
how much did you spend on this? And it's like, okay, well, I didn't just go out one day and say, oh, I'm going to do all this. This is years and years and years of collecting. A little bit here, a little bit there. But you're absolutely correct. I mean, to have a hobby like this, it does cost money. It does.
It does.
But,
I used to have
any...
a massive collection of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 toys. I'm just joking.
Oh,
Nobody does.
I thought you were.
Sorry, Rob.
But, and I'm grateful that we, like, some of us got to...
10,000 corpses? Yeah.
1,000.
1,000, whatever the hell
Yeah.
it is.
House of overrated
Whatever the
corpses.
numeral.
See, like,
is.
like all these here,
The
like,
numerator.
Not every movie
if
or
you look
anything
over
like
here
that.
in my office, you see, like, this big collection of different VHS and stuff. And what's cool is that you can go to secondhand stores, secondhand music stores, and still pick these up.
I couldn't
Yeah.
see April Fools. There it is. There it is.
What? My
Dude, Tenebrae, okay. I always hear you say that. What the frick is that movie about?
Tenebrae?
Jerry
I
and
don't think
Lionel.
Argento knows what Tenebrae is about.
and that's and you know what?
Okay,
And you
well,
know what?
that's great.
And you know what? That's the secret of the movie. Yeah.
And let me be. I don't want to say something. I don't want to say on air, but
Yeah.
Suspiria is Argento, right?
It's like
Yes.
Okay,
it's
good,
like listening to like
It's Argento.
every
right?
Iron Maiden album. Right. You're just in for the ride.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, Tenebrae is one of the best final scenes ever. I don't care what anybody says.
Better than
better Chopping
Soul
Mall?
Plane? Better than the Bootiest edition of Booty Call?
Please
These are like
stop.
classic films.
Oh my god. He had to say Soul Plane.
And this ends our broadcast day.
The white person booty adapter. Yeah. Tally.
Yeah, but that is one of the best final scenes ever. I mean, it's disturbing. It's haunting. You know, it's poor Daria Nicolodi screaming her head off over and over and over again. But you know,
Better than The Howling 2?
The Howling 2? Oi.
Wow, you took that way back.
Yeah, Sybil Danning.
What do they call them?
What up, bro?
Practical effects, right? What is it called?
No,
Yes.
practical effects, they'll call it titties.
No.
I don't know about practical. I don't think they're practical.
No, but I'm saying when they actually do effects like
Practically awesome.
Werewolf in London is called practical.
Yeah,
right?
practical
Like,
effects. Yes, you're right.
it's not CGI. It's not
Yeah,
any of this.
and which
bullshit.
makes a lot of these movies, in fact, a good.
They make them
good,
bullshit.
Yeah, a
There's
good number of them.
no story, but a
okay, but
bunch
here's
of
the thing.
Uh-uh.
If a film completely relies on CG, like, yeah, it's typically annoying. But there are some films that are like a perfect marriage of the two, like The
Maleficent.
Void.
I'm
The
sorry.
Void.
What were we just
Yeah,
talking
we
about
were
earlier?
just talking about the
I
Void.
was just
Yeah,
talking about
Wonderful
earlier.
practical effects,
Yes.
but some good digital stuff to accent it
Yes.
and bring it out.
No, absolutely.
I love that
And I was
stuff.
telling Lionel earlier that Jerry showed us the void. What did I say earlier? As we rode
sounds
up
really
into
sketchy.
this house,
So Jerry showed us the Void.
don't we wish? Yes,
and
exactly.
may I point out here that Jerry showed us the Void, not
No,
his Void.
The
Okay.
void, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
uh-huh.
Just making sure.
And I was like, and tentacles,
Alex,
people.
my voice
Okay,
is
I don't know what
pretty-
was going on, but I liked it anyways. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell was going on during the movie. I really didn't. What the hell am I watching?
And the
But
cool
I
thing
liked
is,
it,
those
like,
of you who haven't had a
what was-
chance
I have
to,
no idea what it was about.
if you haven't had a chance to see The Void,
I
see
love
it. It's from what I know, it's on Netflix
It's a
now.
good homage.
So check it out. It's pretty good.
It's a good.
And if you're a big horror fan, you're going to appreciate the film's final scene. And if you get the connection,
yes.
if you get the connection,
Parallel.
send me an email.
The rainbow connection.
Send me send me an email, LionelVHS17@gmail.com, and let's talk about it. So we're about to close up this episode. I was really, really, really happy that you guys came. We had a really good time. I had more fun this time than I did the last time. So you kids out there, go discover every single horror movie you can. If you can find it on VHS, watch it on VHS. Yeah,
Even if it's Ghoulies
the
2.
the quality is a little bit less, but you know what? You get that piece of history that kids like me and people like Jerry that we want to keep alive forever. We don't ever want this era to ever die.
And you get to adjust the tracking control on your TV screen on your VCR. This is great. I tell Gabby what's tracking. Huh? Oh my god. Are you serious? Adjust the tracking
No
control
idea
on your
what's
TV.
happening.
On my phone, that tracking.
Exactly.
Okay, so on that note, like I said, I just want to say thanks to everybody that was listening. Stay tuned for episode 3. It's coming soon. So until next time.